Well, good morning and welcome. We've just got a couple more minutes till we start properly, so I will just go through a couple of housekeeping things, but welcome to everybody. This is our webinar on and working with Look Good, Feel Better, focusing on questions around your skincare, makeup, etc. So why Look Good, Feel Better? Well, that's an important topic, but also we're working with the organisation Look Good, Feel Better, and I'll introduce you to Dulcie Rowe in a moment. But the real background around that is that we know from questions that people have posted, as well as discussions on various forums, etc., that cancer and treatments can really affect how people look and feel about themselves as well, and that really has an impact on the confidence for certain people. It's really great that we're able to work with an organisation such as Look Good, Feel Better, and look forward to us going through the various questions and discussions today. So Dulcie, if you can give us a brief introduction to yourself and Look Good, Feel Better.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having us here today. It's a pleasure to be able to work with you guys. So I'm from the cancer charity Look Good, Feel Better. We are an international cancer support charity who offer advice on skincare and makeup for people undergoing treatment for cancer, and that's any type of cancer. In the UK, we run free of charge skincare and makeup workshops for the women and skincare and grooming workshops for men. We're in 141 locations all over the country, and all of our services are run in hospitals or cancer centres. We run with a whole heap of volunteers who we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. We've got about 3,000 volunteers all over the country. And what we do is we're a non-medical charity, so we are there to help you and answer any questions that you have on any skin changes that you'll see. Now, because we aren't medical, we can't answer specific questions about your treatment, because everybody is under completely different treatment plans and everybody will react to different treatment plans. So we'll recommend what we can and talk about what we can. But what we do, the main thing about our workshops when they are live, is it's a group support service. So it's about having a bit of fun, having a giggle, and actually being able to learn hints and tips about how you might be able to make yourself feel better through skincare and makeup as well. The skincare and makeup is the bonus, but really it's about meeting people in other situations, be able to share stories and advice about what's helped you get through your treatment. But we have just launched our virtual workshop services due to what's going on at the moment. We can't run our face-to-face sessions, so we're doing everything online. So if there is anyone that has any specific questions or would like to attend, then just visit our website and we'll be able to signpost you and get you onto one.
Okay, great, thank you. So we'll move on to questions. So our first set of questions were really around challenges around the impact of treatment, particularly on skin. So the first one around that was, so as people know, that my skin has been affected by treatment and is very sensitive. What might help me? So how would you address that, Dulcie?
So I think with chemotherapy in particular, it can really, really dramatically impact your skin. And you could have perfectly fine skin throughout your entire life, and then you've gone on to a certain drug, and your whole skin might completely change. It might become really sensitive, might be really dry, it might feel really itchy and flaky. There's so many things that drugs can do to our bodies. We need to be kind. We don't want to say this is going to help you, but we will try our best to answer your questions. So generally speaking, the main things that are gonna help you if you've got really sensitive skin, you need to try and avoid heavily scented products. Heavily scented products can be a really, really big nightmare. A lot of the chemicals are quite harsh in them. A lot of the fragrances are quite harsh. They're really drying, which can automatically make your skin quite sensitive. But if you're looking for something really specific, brand-wise, it's always worth asking your CNS or your medical team if they can specifically give you something that is definitely going to help. Skincare is one of these things that, unfortunately, it's a bit trial and error. So one thing that works for one person won't necessarily work for another person. But as a general rule of thumb, if you can use it on your baby, it's probably okay to use on yourself. There are oat-based products which are really soothing and gentle on sensitive skin, and aqueous cream is amazing. Most people will have a tub of aqueous cream. They normally come in massive pump forms. They're really good, not just as a moisturiser, but they're also really good for washing your actual body as well. So you don't just have to use it just on moisturising, but if you can get yourselves an aqueous cream, you want to look for something that's water-based, that's really, really gentle, but aqueous cream is always going to tick the box. It can feel quite heavy on your skin, so just use it sparingly if you can, but that is really good for sensitive skin. And have a look out for oat-based products as well, because they're normally very, very gentle.
Okay, and so you mentioned a couple of things there. What if people have particularly challenging kind of skin problems, and perhaps they're more oily or they're more red or they're prone to spots? Is there anything else that they can do in addition to some of those?
Yeah, so if your skin feels more oily, what you can do is ideally try and avoid oil-based products, because that could make it work, and could make it worse, and look out for water-based items. So you could also try tea tree oil, which is a natural product, and it's really, really good for helping drying out the skin, but you need to use it really sparingly because it does dry out your skin quite substantially. If you've got oily skin, a lot of people tend to avoid moisturising their skin regularly or after they've had a wash, because they think actually that's going to make it worse. But actually your skin will then start overcompensating, and it will start producing more sebum, which is our skin's natural defence mechanism. So always moisturise, but there are so many products available on the market that are designed for specific skin conditions. So you do just need to look out for something that is designed for your skin, and it might be the complete opposite to what it previously was. If your skin is really dry, you must moisturise, especially after washing. As soon as you get out of the shower or the bath, please put moisturiser on. You know, sitting in water for any period of time is going to suck out all of the moisture that's sitting in our skin. You could try adding in a bit of oil into your bath to help all of that soak in, because when you're in the bath and it's warm, your pores are naturally going to open and they start absorbing things. So you could put a spoonful of coconut oil into your bath, and then when you get out, you can just rub that in. It will still be sitting there. What you could also do is really try to avoid sitting or soaking in the bath or shower for a long time. We love relaxing. Everybody sits in the bath, in the shower for at least sort of 10 to 15 minutes, but that is actually really going to dry our skin out. And you need to avoid really hot or very warm water, because again, that's going to dry it out. Unfortunately, aircon and heating also dries out our skin. So where possible, if you can take off a layer if you're too hot, or put on a layer if you're cold, rather than sticking on the aircon or the heating, because that is going to dry your skin out. But the main thing you can do if you do have very dry skin is you need to moisturise regularly and stay hydrated. Water is the best thing that we can do for our body to make sure that our skin stays nice and plumped and hydrated. But if you can moisturise regularly, especially after it's been wet, so after washing your hands, you need to put moisturiser on, ideally every single time. If you've got one of those skins that just keeps cracking, every half an hour, you need to be putting some form of moisturiser on, and you can get really, really thick creams that are ideal for sort of cracking skin. There's a brand called Mugu. If anyone has any really specific skin problems like psoriasis, it can help with eczema, dermatitis, it can really help with that. Have a look at their company website, Mugu, M-O-O-G-O-O. They're fantastic. Reading some of their success stories are really amazing. So if you do have that type of skin that you just can't find anything, and you're sort of at your wit's end of where to go, it might be worth researching them. They also do a specific cancer sort of package as well, and some of their hero products are available on prescription on the NHS as well.
Okay, thank you. And so you kind of mentioned about getting into a routine there. Now, as we know, many people already have a skincare routine. Is that something that they can carry on doing, or what should they kind of be aware of when kind of changing their routine?
You can stick with your normal routine, but you may find that it's not actually suitable for you anymore. So my skin's very oily naturally, and if I started treatment, I might find that my skin is really dry. So the products that you're using currently may not be suitable. Unfortunately, it is one of those things that you need to reevaluate as time goes on as to how your skin is reacting. If you're seeing significant changes, go and speak to your medical team. Your GP might be able to advise you. If you don't know what skin you have, if that's oily, combination, dry, dehydrated, go into your local beauty salon. They'll probably see you for free and be able to just quickly tell you by looking at your skin what skin type you have. You don't have to go in and buy all of their products that they're recommending you, because a lot of the time they are on commission, so they will try and sell you something. But it's worth speaking to them and saying, is there anything specific that you would recommend buying? Get a sample, go out and research it, try it for a bit and see if that makes any difference to your skin. What you do need to look out for is if any of your skincare currently has AHAs in, which is alpha hydroxy acid, really try and avoid this when you're having treatment, because it can make your skin a lot more sensitive, which is what you want to avoid. It's just an acid that helps regenerate your skin, but just be careful. Just have a look at the ingredients. You can also get lists provided from your CNS or your oncologist of items that you should be avoiding when you're undergoing treatment, because all treatments are going to be completely different. So all of them will have a different list of ingredients that you should be avoiding. So just if you are going to stick with the same routine, I'll just double check with them and just check the back of the packaging to make sure that there's nothing in there that they've told you to avoid.
Okay, thank you. So we've still got a few more questions around skin. So as you know, people often have, not only are they having treatment, but they're also going through menopause or other challenges around their lifestyle in terms of, and so people having hot flushes. Is there any particular foundations that they can use in order to help manage that?
So with foundations, unfortunately, there's not one rule that fits everybody. What people find, what we've personally found, when people are having hot flushes and makeup isn't really sitting on their face properly, or it seems to be sliding off throughout the day, you might want to have a look at getting a primer. So a primer is really good, and they're normally silicone based, and it will fill in any fine lines and wrinkles that everybody naturally has on their face. It will start looking a lot smoother, more like a piece of paper rather than an orange. So what you can do is that is naturally going to help your foundation to last longer, especially when you're having hot flushes, because everything will stick to that. There are loads of different types on the market, and just go into your local department store and look for a friendly face and just ask them what they would recommend. They're all used to seeing all sorts of problems, so don't be scared if they look super glamorous. They are normal people underneath it. If you explain to them what the problem is, they should be able to recommend something specific for you, but please do get samples before you buy something. There's nothing worse than spending all this money on all of these different products because someone said, oh, you need to buy this, it will work, and then it doesn't work. Everywhere can give you samples. So if someone says no, they can't give you samples, just go and ask somebody else. With foundation, if you're sweating, try and avoid powder foundations. Sweat and powder don't mix very well. It starts getting all lumpy and then it starts sitting in all of your pores and it just doesn't look right. So I have personally found that if you look out for a long-lasting foundation, they're more likely to sell on your face. I've found that a cream or a stick foundations will last longer versus liquids, but it really does depend on your skin, and you can get samples of a lot of foundations normally. But yeah, just try and get as many samples as you possibly can, because some foundations naturally just don't sit on people's skin well. I can't use certain products. I'm like, oh, it just doesn't suit my face. So try and get samples. And if you're still not finding anything sitting right, try setting spray. So it's just a little spray thing. You just spray it over the top of your makeup, and that will make sure that it lasts all day. They're normally slightly waterproof as well, so any sweat, that's going to help. You can get blotting papers. They sell them in most sort of cosmetic stores and department stores. They're almost like they're just like these tiny little papers, like tissue paper, and you just carry them around. They're in a really tiny little thing, and you can just it blocks the sweat off. So what you don't want to be doing is start wiping your face, because you're wiping the makeup off, and actually by doing that you're going to start heating up your skin, which is going to make your hot flushes worse. If you're dabbing, it's going to look a lot better. And I don't know about you, but I remember I've seen people in the toilets and they've been doing this with their skin on with normal tissue, and they've got bits of tissue stuck to their face, which isn't a very good look, especially if they're on your own and no one tells you. But blotting papers, it doesn't do that. It's just like tissue paper, and you just blot it. You blot the oil and the sweat off, and they're amazing. That will help your foundation to last a lot longer as well.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to, so in terms of lips, people have very dry and cracked lips. What can help with that?
Having dry and cracked lips is the worst feeling. It just feels like that they catch on things, they're so sore. So what you need to do is start off, if you can just use any type of lip balm, see how your lips react. If they're still feeling very, very cracked and dry, what you can do is if you get a really small amount of coconut oil and a very small amount of sugar, and you mix that together in your hands, and then in the evenings, a few times a week, if you just rub that over your lips, you're going to start naturally exfoliating them, and that's going to get that top layer of dead skin off. That is going to help massively, but you need to then hydrate them after. You can get these 8-hour creams, which is designed for your face, but you can also use them on your lips. They're fantastic, and they can really, really sort out your dry lips. But we need to, it might be a result of your treatment. So if they've suddenly got very, very dry and cracked, go and see your medical practitioner and just ask them, is this a side effect of the treatment? Is there anything that they know will definitely work? But in the interim, if you just keep putting on lip balm, a couple of times a week, exfoliate them, and hopefully that will start making them feel a bit better. Try not to lick them if you can. If you're a lipstick wearer, please do continue to wear your lipstick, but look for a cream one. Don't go for the matte ones, because they're going to really, really dry out your lips, because that's going to act as a natural barrier and keep them hydrated as well.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the last, so what is the best way to shave, and what advice have you got for people who are trying to shave regularly and while following treatment? So
with shaving, again, it's a preference thing as to how people like to shave. Some people like wet shaving, some people use electric shavers, you know, hair removal. There's so many different types of shaving that people can do, and that's a preference thing. The main thing to bear in mind is just because you found one thing that is for you, so you might be like, no, I've always wet shaved throughout my whole life, that might not be suitable anymore. Your skin might feel very, very different following your treatment, even if it's just for a few months. So you may need to swap what you're using and start going for an electric razor. Now, a lot of people find that if their skin feels very sensitive, or it just doesn't feel the same as it previously did, you might need to pay more attention to your shaving routine. A lot of men particularly have been doing the same thing the whole of their lives, and they do that because that's what they've always done, but there isn't really actually a logic to it. So if you're finding your face is feeling quite sensitive or sore, and naturally you're used to wet shaving over the sink, you splash your face and you just go away, try having a shower first. Make the skin more supple. The hair's easier to cut when it's wet, which is generally why women get their hair cut when it's wet. So try having a shower first. Let your skin absorb that moisture and then go in and shave. You need to make sure that you're using the right type of products on your skin. So don't go in and just shave straight away. You need to put something on it first. You might find that a foam is no longer suitable for you, so you might want to try a gel or a cream. You might want to try using one of the brushes, you know, the old school badger brushes. They're really good because that's going to make that almost puts a barrier in between, because it will get the product really sitting on your skin rather than just sitting on the hair. So it's all about trial and error, unfortunately. If you still have loads of problems with shaving your face, go to your local barbers. They will be more than happy to give you some advice on what they think might be better suited for you. Some people find that dry shaving doesn't suit them anymore because it pulls their hair. Well, that might be because you're going in straight away, just straight on your face, and not actually prepping the skin first. You can still have a shower or a bath first to warm and soften the skin up and the hair, and you can actually get these oil-based products that are put on first, and then you shave over it, and that's going to create a barrier in between your skin and the product, the shaving tool that you're using, because that can irritate your skin in itself. After you shave, please put something on after it. Don't just splash your face with cold water and walk out the door. Please don't spray perfume on your face. Oh my gosh, it's going to dry out your skin really badly. You need to put an aftershave balm on if you have one. If you don't have one, please put some form of moisturiser on. Aftershave balms normally have some sort of antibacterial property in, which will protect your skin from infection and generally the elements. If you don't have one of them, then just put a moisturiser, a really thin moisturiser on, and that will help keep nourishing it. But yeah, shaving can be one of those things that your skin might completely change through your whole treatment. But you just need to make sure that you're preparing the skin properly and just being gentle to it. Just don't be harsh, you know, give yourself a break and just keep trying to prepare your skin as best as you can. You can also try and exfoliate underneath this area. Even if you have a beard, you can exfoliate this area, and that will help lift off any dead skin, which means that when you're shaving, it's not going to sort of pull out any extra bit of hair, extra bit of skin that you don't want to get rid of. But go and see your local barber. They'll definitely be able to help you if you have any specific questions as well.
So this is now focusing on hair.
Yes.
So see, obviously hair has an important impact on when people are having treatment as well. So first of all, around can people continue to dye their hair before or after treatment?
So Look and Feel Better isn't experts in hair. So we've reached out to Jasmine Gupta at the Hair Loss Coach. She's at Cancer Hair Care. So we've been working with them for a little while, and they are an incredible charity, and they specialise in cancer and hair. So we've asked them for some advice on answering these questions for you. So if you have any further questions following this, please go and speak to them, because they'll be able to answer in more depth than I'll probably be able to. So in regards to dyeing your hair, so they've said, generally speaking, as long as there is no current scalp or hair loss and they can carry out a skin sensitivity test, there isn't a reason why you can't colour your hair prior to your treatment. When it comes to after treatment, apparently it's a bit more detailed, and it depends on what treatment you have and the condition of your new hair and scalp. So if you had any specific questions about after following your treatment, go and speak to them. But if it's before, as long as you don't have any problems with your scalp or your hair, then it's okay to dye it before.
Okay, and you mentioned about some product. I think before we kind of focus on that, just have you got any general comments around, obviously one of the biggest impacts on treatment on your on how you look and how you feel is the impact the treatment has on losing hair. So either people find that all of their hair falls out, or it starts thinning, and that obviously has an impact on people's self-confidence. Is that common, and what might help with that?
It's so common. I mean, it doesn't matter what gender you are. If your hair starts thinning or falling out, it can have a significant impact on how you're feeling about yourself. Be kind. You know, you're going through this period, and it's okay to have issues and don't feel yourself. You know, that's completely normal to feel like that. What you can do, there are various different treatments or products that you can use to make yourself feel a bit better. Obviously, there's loads of wigs available on the market that you could go and look at. Wigs aren't for everybody. I used to work for a wig company in London, and I used to get people coming to see me when their hair was thinning. They were male, female, you know, we saw everybody. And just because you're worried about losing your hair, you might put on a wig and just think, actually, this isn't for me. It's really important to try everything before you buy it, and just make sure that you're speaking to a really sensitive and understanding consultant, and not just one of these people that just wants to sell you something and get you out of the door. If you don't want to wear a wig or a wig, that's fine. Go for a head covering. That's absolutely fine as well. You can watch these amazing videos on YouTube where they show you how to do these sort of headscarf tying, and they look incredible, especially in the summer when it's getting quite warm. It's so natural to feel like your confidence has really been reduced if your hair is thinning or falling out, but it's okay. People understand. You can get little pots of fibres, which if your hair is just naturally, you might just naturally have thin hair, you can get little pots of fibres. They sell them in like Boots and Superdrug and that, and they're about this big, and they've almost got little, it looks like cut up pieces of hair. If you shaved your face or shaved a man's head, you get little tiny little clippings. It's like a tub of that. Obviously it's not that, but it is that. And you can just sprinkle that on your hair where you feel like it's thinning, and it's going to give the illusion of thicker hair. So there are things that you can use. You don't just have to lose your hair and then panic. There are things to help you. There are loads of hats that are really nice as well. You can also get you can get clip-in fringes, which if you don't have any hair, obviously it needs to be able to sit on something. But actually what you can do is, if you were wearing a hat, like a nice summer hat or a beanie, you can actually sit it here, and it will sit, and it just gives the illusion that you've got something, and you can get some to the side. But more people, you notice more than other people do. You look at yourself. People, as humans, we all look in the mirror, and all we do is judge. All we do is point out our flaws and look at our bad bits. No one else sees anyone like that. You look at someone across the street and you think, oh my gosh, what nice eyes they have, what nice shoes they have. You're not going, oh, look at that person with their funny eyebrows, are you? That's not natural. But as ourselves, all we see in the mirror is flaws. So it's completely normal to be worried if your hair does start thinning and falling out, but no one will notice half as much as you do. So just be kind to yourself.
That's good advice, thank you. You particularly mentioned wigs. Is there any particular advice that you could say about how people go about getting wigs? You mentioned they can get them from various organisations or from their own hospital. What do people generally do if they want to explore that?
So at the moment, everything's slightly on hold. But if you did need a wig, particularly at the moment, then most NHS wig fitters are doing online services, so you can still speak to somebody. But in terms of actually finding a wig, it's actually quite hard to find a private place that sells wigs. There aren't that many compared to how many hairdressers there aren't that many places that do wigs. I would advise probably not buying one online, because you don't really know what you're getting. You want to be able to see the texture, how thick it is. A lot of people that I used to see when I was working in wigs, they said that they bought a few online, and then they came into the shop and they said, I can't wear it because there's too much hair, which I guess is a nice problem to have, because most people want thicker hair, but it's not so good when it starts making it look quite wiggy. So if you can, you need to go in to several different wig places, and not only do you want to find someone that is going to take the time to talk you through about what you want, but you want to make sure that it feels and sits right on your head. It's really important to try on wigs first, because you might have a small head, you might have a large head, you might need a certain length. I would personally avoid any wigs that are longer than that, because they don't last as long. The longer the wig, unless it's human hair, where it rubs on your clothes, it can start going matted quite quickly, and once it's done that, you can't really go back from it, so you just end up having to cut it shorter and shorter, whereas the shorter ones generally seem to last longer because they're not rubbing on anything. Don't be afraid to experiment in styles and colours. So many people just think, oh no, I've always been a blonde, so I'm going to have a blonde wig. Why? You might want to be a redhead, you might have more fun being a redhead. And I used to see people in the shops and they'd say, no, I've always been this colour. I'm like, let's just give it a different colour a go. and they're astounded, absolutely astounded. Just make sure that you're going into a reputable place, that you can ask them as many questions as you want. You want to find someone that's actually going to teach you how to put the wig on. I've been to some places and they say, yep, put the wig on. Oh yeah, you like that? Great, there you go, off you go. And then I have people come back and say, oh, I bought this wig from elsewhere, but I don't actually know how to put it on. So you need to make sure that you ask as many questions as possible. Go in with a list of questions that you have for them and ask them. If they don't know, maybe you need a different sales advisor, someone that has a bit more experience. There are also different types of wigs. You can get synthetic, you can get lace fronts, you can get human hair. You need to explore and research what one you think would be suitable first, and then you can go into the store and say, this is what I think I want, but can I have a look at the other ones just in case? A lot of people think that human hair is going to be a lot better. It is in some ways, and it's definitely not in other ways. Human hair is going to act like human hair. So you have to style it every day, unless you get one that's naturally straight or naturally curly. You have to actually do something with it. You have to wash it a lot more regularly. Whereas the synthetic ones, they won't last as long, but they're always going to be in that style. So I think if you do want to get a wig, it's definitely worth exploring as many places as possible. And yeah, speak to as many people as possible. Make sure that who you're buying from, you're comfortable buying from them, and you think that they've got enough knowledge and they can support you, even if you had questions a few months down the line and you could go back.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we'll move on to the next set of questions now. So this is particularly around eyebrows, and again, we talked about hair and hair loss during treatment, but hair loss isn't only about the hair on your head. It's all in some ways the whole of your body. So, and eyebrows are particular. So this question around, I've lost my eyebrows through treatment, how can I recreate them? Is tattooing something that should consider?
So how to create your eyebrows. So it's actually surprisingly easy to draw on your eyebrows and make them look like real hair. If you get a pencil and make it very, very sharp, you'll be able to plot. If you go to our website, we've got tutorials on how to draw on your eyebrows, and it does we've got a little diagram and stuff. But you can plot your eyebrows about where they'd go, and then using the point of it, you can draw hairs actually onto your eyebrows. Now, eyebrows naturally grow up, round and down, so you want to do hair-like strokes in the up, round and down, but it's practice. It won't come overnight, but it does get easier, and it will take you just a few minutes once you get really used to it. There's also lots of different products you can buy. You can get stencils, you can get stamps, if you are really struggling, but practice makes perfect. And if your eyebrows have started falling out, or you know they're going to come out but they haven't yet, start filling them in now, because by the time that if they go, you're going to be used to exactly the placement, the depth, the thickness, you're going to be used to everything, so it won't be as shocking if they do all go, because you'll already be in the routine of doing them. In regards to tattooing, so that's a preference thing. You can't get them tattooed on when you're having your treatment because of infection. You can get them tattooed on before your treatment, but you really, really need to thoroughly research into if you want that. I've seen a lot of bad eyebrows in my time that have been tattooed on, and they tend to fade and go a funny colour. They don't last forever. Sometimes they last a lot longer than what you think, depending on your skin type, but sometimes they don't last long at all. People generally don't notice if you don't have any eyebrows. The Mona Lisa, the painting, doesn't have any eyebrows. Most people wouldn't notice that unless you point it out. But if you are really concerned, or if maybe you have naturally really thick eyebrows, then just start drawing them on first and see how you think. Eyebrow tattooing is quite a big deal, and it's that's permanent. You're going to be stuck there. But if you are adamant that you're going to go, just make sure that you read and speak to as many people as possible about that specific person, because what you don't want happening is you go to someone because you've seen a few reviews and you think, oh, they've got a deal on, they're really cheap, and then you walk out and you think, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then you can't get rid of it and you're stuck. So you really need to research about the people that you are going to go to if you're adamant that you do want that done. But just check with your doctor just before, just in case they say absolutely not. It's always worth checking with them first. And
people just focusing on more on eyebrows. Do they grow back after treatment as well? Is that a question that obviously people lose their body hair, but does it come back?
Most of the time, yes. It's very, very rare, but it could not come back. I haven't met many people in my time where it hasn't grown back. It might grow back slightly thinner, but generally they do grow back, and I wouldn't panic about that until you get to that stage, because otherwise you're just going to wind yourself up and stress yourself out. But 99% of people, your hair will grow back.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to focusing on eyes. So we know that generally fatigue is a real challenge when people are on treatment, and obviously the eyes looking tired, that is a big deal for people affected by lymphoma. So do you have any tips or tricks for people whose eyes looking tired? What can they do to help manage that?
So when people generally say that their eyes look tired, it's normally because there's discoloration around their eyes. So they're normally a bit darker, they might be quite pink. It could literally look like you've been rubbing your eyes, like you've just woken up. They could be quite puffy. There's so many different things that not one person would say my eyes look tired, and you'd ask the next person and it wouldn't be the same problem that they were referring to. So I think a lot of people, the majority of people, when they say their eyes look tired, it is because they've got darkness around them. The thing to bear in mind is everybody has got different shaped faces and different shaped eyes. Okay, so some people naturally have more deep set eyes, which is going to create more of a shadow around their eyes. You can't do anything about that because it's the shape of your face, right? But if your eyes have changed pigment around your eyes, there are loads of different products that you could use, and just a tiny bit of concealer just on the discoloured part will make them look so much better. It really does make them look not as deep set. It evens out the skin tone. You can, if they're really dark, you can get a coloured concealer. If they're yellow, you can get a lavender coloured concealer that you can just pop a little bit on, and that will counteract that colour. There are loads of different products that you can use, but I'd start off just by using a normal concealer and just seeing how it works, because it will even out the skin tone and naturally lift your eyes. But what you can also do is pop on a really tiny bit of eyeshadow. If you look at the colour wheel and find your eye colour, and then pick the opposite colour on the colour wheel, if you use that on your eyes, it will make them stand out more. And if your eyes are standing out more, people aren't going to notice that you maybe haven't had a good night's sleep or the discoloration slightly off. So, you know, like I said earlier, people notice less than what you do. We're all too judgmental to ourselves. But try using a tiny bit of concealer, or even just a tinted moisturiser or foundation just around your eyes, and just make sure it's all blended on the edges, but that should help lift them out. And with eyelashes, eyelashes is one of these really annoying things that if they fall out, we see people, they go, oh, how can I put them back on? Well, unfortunately, we can't put them back on. A lot of people ask if they can use fake eyelashes. Please don't use fake eyelashes. You know, the permanent eyelashes, they have to be able to stick onto something, and if you don't have any eyelashes, there isn't anything for them to stick onto. And if you went into a salon or spoke to someone and they said they'd stick it onto your skin, avoid at all costs. Please do not ever stick permanent eyelashes onto your eyelids. That's asking for trouble. You can try strip lashes, which is just eyelashes on a single strip. But again, because there's nothing for them to sit onto, they can start flopping and go quite straight and actually distort your eyesight. But there is a brand called Eyelure. They've got arranged by Sea Lash. called Sea Lash, sorry, which was designed by a lady called Claudelia, who she actually had cancer and wanted to wear eyelashes for a special occasion. And so she's designed these eyelashes, which have got a really thick band. So they sit on your eyelid and then they're like that, so they don't start flopping. So if you have a special occasion, have a look at them. I haven't personally tried them, but the reviews are really good. So that's always good for an extra special occasion. But if you just wanted to create definition around your eyes, if you get a bit of eyeliner, you can do any colour. Browns are always really good. Greys are always really good. If you only have a black, that's fine because you can smudge it out into a grey. And just on the top, as close as you can to your natural lash line, just draw even little dots or dashes or anything, and then just smudge that in. That will give the illusion of a shadow, which is what eyelashes really do. That gives you the focus around your eyes, but try not to put it in this middle inner corner because naturally people don't have eyelashes there. And try not to do a cat flick because people will pick up that you don't have any eyelashes. So just try and use something really soft just to focus around your eyes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the next section. So now we're focusing on nails as well. Again, different parts of the body are affected by treatment. So what advice or information have you got for people regarding their nails after treatment?
So nails is one of these things. So look, we're not experts in nails. We do have advice on nails, but we're not experts. So I'll do my best to answer these as thoroughly as I can. So nails can be affected in so many different ways by treatment, and it depends what treatment that you're having will depend on a possible side effect that's going to happen to your nails. The main thing that you need to do is make sure that they stay hydrated. You need to constantly be moisturising. You can use a cuticle oil. You want to make sure that your nail never really feels that dry. The skin around your cuticles can start cracking. Please don't pick it. Just leave it. Make sure you just keep hydrating them. Nail varnishes, you can use nail varnish. I would speak to your medical team first, just in case there's anything that they say absolutely not. But generally speaking, if you've got very sore nails or something's happened to them, or maybe they're lifting or they're falling off, or there's so many different things that can happen to your nails, unless your nails are pretty much normal, don't put anything on them. If you are going to use your nails, then please use a base coat first, which is going to help stop staining. And if you're finding that you've got lots of little ridges on your nails, which a lot of people have, normally that's because the bed of the nail, the matrix is where the nail is made, that's damaged, and unfortunately you can't do anything about that. If you're finding that your nails just look a bit funny and you just don't think they look nice with all these ridges, you can get a ridge filler base coat, and it will fill in any ridges so they all look really smooth. It's also something to bear in mind that if you are going to use nail varnish, you can try and look for a water-based nail varnish, which has got less chemicals in it. That's going to be less harsh onto your nails. And please don't use acetone nail varnish remover. It is extremely drying to your skin. But if that's the only thing that you have, just make sure you wash your hands straight after using it and moisturize your hands straight after as well.
Okay, thank you. So moving on, obviously at the moment, this is a really important topic area. What should people do to look after their skin over and above kind of protecting themselves from the sun and the hot weather that we're having at the moment?
We're so lucky, and then we're not at the same time, really. I think you're either a sun lover or you're not at all. If you're a sun lover or you're not at all, it's so important that you're using a sun cream. So you need a decent sun cream. Please use at least a factor 30, and you need to reapply that throughout the day. So SPF, so sun protection factor, and it comes in different strengths. So it can come in 10, 15, 20, 50. There's a massive, massive range. And a lot of people don't actually know what those numbers mean. They just think it's, well, that's how long it's going to last. Well, yes, but what does that actually mean? What is the point of a 5 versus a 50? So the number is how long. It's all comparative. So if I went out in the sun and I didn't have anything on my skin and I burn in 1 minute, if I put a factor 50 on, I'd have 50 times that minute. So I'd get 50 minutes of protection. If you burnt with nothing on in an hour, you'd have 50 hours. So the higher the factor, the longer that you are actually going to have in the sun. But please try, I'd personally try and avoid the one a day ones, because I don't know how much they actually are going to, they obviously will protect your skin, but I still feel like you should reapply it throughout the day. You need to find one that's got UVA and UVB protection as well. UVA will stop you from aging, UVB will stop you from burning. You need to keep applying these throughout the day. You know those big bottles that you get, probably sort of 200-300 ml, that's actually 3 full bodies worth. Most people go on holiday with 1 bottle and they come back with half a bottle still and then use it next year. You haven't used half enough. That's why we burn so often, because we're not using enough on our skin. So you need to be regularly applying, using more rather than less. And if you are one of those people that I know a lot of people have, that have got a drawer in their, in their cupboard that's filled with half empty bottles of sun cream. I know there's some of you out there that do this, because my parents used to. It goes off. So on the back of every product, there's a little pot with a lid coming off with a number. It'll say 12M. That will last 12 months. If you've had something since your last holiday and there's a tiny bit left, throw it away, because it's not going to protect your skin like it should be. There's also different types of SPF. You can get a chemical and you can get a physical. The chemical ones are the oil, the clear liquids that you can buy that normally smell like coconut. They're great. It's all preference. Some people, chemical ones generally don't feel as sticky. You still need to reapply it, but that will create a chemical barrier between yourself and the sun. The physical ones are the white liquids, the white creams that you get, and that's going to create a physical barrier. Okay, depending on your treatment, double check with your medical team if you should be avoiding one, because I know that the chemical ones, sometimes you forget where you've put it because you can't see any mark at all. And if you're having radiotherapy, it could actually stop the rays going in. So just double check with them first if you should be avoiding sun protection on a certain part of your body perhaps. Wear big hats, sit in the shade, especially between 11 and 3 when the sun's at its highest. And really try not to burn. Really try not to burn. Once you burn, your skin never really is the same in that area again. So you just need to be really careful.
So kind of just conscious of time and the final couple of questions. You've mentioned various things throughout the questions at the moment, but particularly around particular products or ingredients. Can you just reinforce and reiterate the message there about what people should look out for on particular products or ingredients that would help or should be avoided?
Yeah. So ingredients and products specifically, you need to go and speak to your medical team first. They will be able to provide you with a list, depending on your treatment plan. They'll be able to provide you with a list of ingredients or products that you definitely should be avoiding. It's really important that you try and follow that as best as you can. And annoyingly, that normally means sitting and reading the back of all of your products. If you're concerned about what is in your products, I'd encourage you to visit the Facts About website, which is just the factsabout.co.uk. That was actually set up by the CTPA, which is the Cosmetic, Toiletry and Perfumery Association, and they represent all companies involved in making and selling cosmetics. So if you have any concerns about what's in your products, then I'd encourage you to go and read them. But everyone's treatment plans are completely different, so I wouldn't be able to say if there's anything that you should be avoiding, because I'm not medically trained and I don't know what everyone's treatment plans are. So I'd just go and check with your medical team first as to if there is something that you really need to avoid.
And are there anything particularly for itchy skin? Because we know that that is not only a sign or a symptom of lymphoma, but it's also can be impacted by different treatments or different products that you might be using. Anything particularly to focus on for that?
Yeah, so itchiness and rashes could be an allergic reaction to your medication or your treatment. So it's always worth just going and speaking to someone first. Even if you think it's really, really silly, just go and ask advice first before doing anything. If they have decided that it's not your treatment or is your treatment, but you know it's just a side effect, which means that it's working, then itchy skin can be caused because it's dry. So you need to make sure that you're moisturising as often as you possibly can. I mentioned the brand Mugu earlier on the webinar. If you are really, really struggling for something that's going to help, really honestly go and have a look at their website and have a look at some of their success stories and their newspaper clippings, because they could really help you. They've got a huge variety of products from sun cream to shampoo, conditioner, body wash. They do the whole range. Their story about how they started is really nice as well. So if you're really struggling, you can't find anything that's helping, go and have a look at Mugu. And as I said, they are available on prescription on some of their products as well. But just don't suffer in silence. Please don't suffer in silence. There are going to be things that are going to be able to help you. So don't just sit there and just think, oh, I'm just going to be itchy for the whole of my life or the whole of this period. There are things that will help you. Where possible, please try not to scratch it. You're going to end up breaking all your skin and you'll have horrible scars and stuff from where you've been scratching. I used to suffer with eczema as a child, and I've got scars all over my body where I've just been ripping off my skin. So, you know, where possible, don't do that. And lightly, if you are really itchy, try and like lightly tap it, and that should help some of that urge to itch. But please just keep moisturising. That really should help die down the itchiness.
Okay, thank you. So we've come to the end of the webinar. Thank you for all your questions. So again, thank you very much to Look Good, Feel Better and to Dulcie Rowe. Look after yourselves. Put into practice some of the tips and tricks and advice that we've been covering and discussing today, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.